Hello everyone. Clayton Miller here with Makeover Homes. Today we're bringing you another awesome Makeover University course designed specifically for you, the client. In today's course, called How It Works and Who It's For, we're going to be going over a brief summary of the entire Makeover mortgage process from A to Z. We're going to talk a little bit about who it's for, how it works, who is involved in this process, and then ultimately make the decision as to whether or not it's right for you. So what is the Makeover mortgage process and how does it work? Well, we like to use an example to help illustrate how it works and why it's so powerful. But first, we want to talk about what all of you new shoppers out there are thinking about, and that is the down payment that you have to come up with for your new house purchase. So after looking at some research, we found out that on average, all Americans are going to put down roughly 6% of their purchase price as a down payment for their next home. So of course, some people are down at 3.5%, even 0, depending on the type of product you're using. And others are going to be up at 20%, but on average, the household American is going to spend about 6%. So after putting 6% down, paying a couple $1,000s worth of closing costs, and who knows how much in moving costs, depending on how far you're going or how much stuff you've collected, most Americans have pretty well depleted their savings account by the time they moved into their new home. So why is this so important? Well, we're going to go over that in these examples below. In both of these situations, the all-in price after all renovations and repairs have taken place, the all-in price is the same at $250,000, but how we got there is going to be a little bit different. So let's say you're not using the Makeover mortgage process, you're a traditional shopper, you're a traditional buyer out there, and you find a house that was listed at $250,000 and you offer $250,000 and you get it under contract. Well, you have the inspector go out in the majority of all house purchases nowadays, and he finds two things that are pretty alarming. One, he finds that the roof is in need of replacement. It is either at its end or it's very close. The other thing that you run into is the HVAC system. Same situation. It's still working just fine, but it's at its end or very close. Well, you go back to that seller of that home and say, hey, the roof's about done and the HVAC system's about done. Well, depending on how hot the market is, and right now in 2022, the market is very hot, it's difficult to ask a seller to shell out a $18,000 roof and a $12,000 HVAC system. Again, depending on the size of the home, these numbers could change, but we're just going to use them as examples. So that seller doesn't want to come out of pocket $30,000 to replace those two items. So rather than that, you tell the seller, hey, let's just bring our purchase price down to $220,000. That's that $30,000 difference, and we'll go from there. So what does that end up looking like? Well, we bought the house at $220,000, and we're going to use our average 6% down payment. That's $13,200 out of pocket. So we're not going to count the closing costs or the moving costs or anything like that. We're just going to keep it simple. So we already paid $13,200. Well, now we had a really bad snow and we found leaks all over the roof, and it is in need of repair now, pronto. The other thing that happened was when we switched from warm to cold, the HVAC system just could not keep up. So our worst has come. The inspector told us they were at their end of their life. Unfortunately, we didn't get them repaired. We just had those costs taken out of the purchase price. So now we get a quote for a roof, quote for HVAC system, $30,000 to get them both replaced. So after moving into our new home and making all the repairs, we're now all into our house for $250,000. That's a $220,000 purchase price and the $30,000 repair, but we're out of pocket $43,200. That's a chunk of change. Now, let's say we're using the Makeover mortgage process. We find the exact same house. $250,000, we get it under contract. We have the inspector go out there. The inspector says, hey guys, this roof is about done and your HVAC system's about done. So just want to let you know, may last a little bit longer, but they're at the end of their life. Now, rather than going back to the seller and saying, hey, drop our price from $250 to $220, we are going to use the renovation side of the Makeover Mortgage Process to have those renovations rolled into our loan. So rather than closing at $220, we get a bid for the roof and for the HVAC system, $30,000. We drop our purchase price to $220, just like in the other example. And now we roll that renovation for that roof and for that HVAC system right into our mortgage. So we go back to the bank and say we need $220 for the house and another $30 for the roof and the HVAC system. The lender says, great, and now we're paying 6% down on that total renovation price. So $250,000 times your 6% is $15,000 out of pocket. So in both scenarios, we're paying $250,000 all in price, and we're also making a 6% down payment, but the Makeover Mortgage Process has those repairs lumped in. So Makeover Mortgage Process, we're going to pay $15,000 total out of pocket, and not using the Makeover Mortgage Process will be $43,200 out of pocket. That is a vastly different picture to paint and a lot more cash needed to get to the exact same product. So that is the power of the Makeover Mortgage Process. So what is the Makeover Mortgage Process? So to put it gently, the Makeover Mortgage Process is a one-stop shop for a residential renovation loan. The Makeover Mortgage Process allows you to roll a set of renovation costs into your mortgage. That way, just like in our previous example, you're not paying for a new house and then coming up with another big chunk of change to pay for renovations on top of that. So there are a number of different loans that we can use for the Makeover Mortgage Process, like the FHA 203K and conventional home style being the most common, but there's also a USDA type of project, a VA project, energy efficient types of projects, and so on. And to use the Makeover Mortgage Process, you're going to need 4 different team members. One is a Makeover Preferred Lender. You need a Makeover Preferred Realtor. You need a Preferred HUD Consultant if you're doing a specific type of loan. And then in every project, for sure, you're going to need a Preferred Contractor. So that's the Makeover Mortgage Process. Again, it allows you to take a set of renovations, whether they be needed or not. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be that there was something damaged that needed to be fixed, but maybe you just wanted to update the kitchen, or maybe there were a couple bathrooms that, you know, they just didn't look so good anymore. They've been used and they needed updated. There's a number of different use cases for the Makeover Mortgage Process, but ultimately it allows you to buy a house and then roll the renovation costs into that mortgage. That way you're not shelling out every last dime that you have in order to get into your new home.